MGTV, η ομογένεια κοντά σας.
This is Lou Katzos. I'm the chairman of the Development, Design, and Construction Committee of the Hellenic American Chamber of Commerce. Today we're having one of our events. We're meeting with the new building commissioner, Chandler, and the deputy commissioner of the building department. We're here at the Russian Tea Room. The event has been sold out. We had to turn away about 125 people. And we're just going to chat with the commissioner tonight. The name of the event is Ariadne's Thread, because the building department to a certain degree has become a labyrinth. And we're just going to chat. We have a lot of the industry leaders here from the development community, some of the major developers of New York, some of the major contractors in New York, and also some of the major designers of New York. Thank you all for being a part of this thing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rick Chandler, Commissioner in the Department of Buildings. I'm happy to be here. This is my first time at the Hellenic Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to be speaking tonight about the Department of Buildings and talking about some of the mayor's initiatives and some of the things that the department is working on and what we have in our plate in the coming months and the coming years, talking about some of our challenges. I'm excited to talk to the folks here and answer some questions, so hopefully it'll be a good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tasso Pardalis. I'm one of the directors here at the Hellenic American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for coming this evening to this wonderful venue and this wonderful event. I just wanted to introduce the chairman of our Development, Design, and Construction Committee, Lou Katzos. He's also the executive vice president of our organization. He's a great guy, and he's kind of, I'm sure most of you know him, and he's kind of the mastermind behind these great events, and they're so useful.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. It's always nice to get together, to have a chat, to break bread, and this particular event is going to be one of those events. It's an introduction, but at the same time, it's an introduction to something going forward. I'd like to thank the sponsors of our event, and also for giving us this wonderful venue to get together. We typically never charge, as you know, for any of our events. It's the sponsors, basically, who pick up the costs. And at the same time, as you also know, for those who've gone to our other events, we use basically the sponsorship money to do other events, in particular cultural events. Many times I say to people who come to these events, I think you basically come to these events because you're always trying to figure out what's the mythology behind any particular event, because I like to always have a mythological theme. But there are many things, obviously, that we can talk about today. Our industry is a $36 billion industry. 1/3 of the $36 billion is basically government-type jobs. The other 2/3 of the $36 billion are made up of commercial and residential construction. Thousands and thousands of jobs are related to what we do. And you, of course, are all involved in a particular industry. And many of us, owners, let's say, who are sitting here in the front desk, front chairs, are having problems many times to expedite their projects. I don't expect a new commissioner to solve all the problems, but there are certain issues that have come up in discussions with many of you. I'm just going to give you the titles of what some people gave me. The growth of the warlords, the phantom menace, the hub, new policies and how we get nothing done, blind enforcement, dealing with our enforcers. I didn't mean this to be the type of introduction that it sounds like. This is a pleasant event. I thank the commissioner and wish you more than the best of luck. You've got a difficult time ahead of you. I forgot to mention someone who's a friend of the committee, Peter Madonia, who did help put some of this event together. Peter, thank you a lot. And with that, let me introduce the new building commissioner.
Well, thank you again for a lovely venue and for inviting us here tonight. Good evening. It's been a long day, and I hope you're up for a lively discussion about the department. I know I usually am, and I always tell my staff that get me started, and I can only talk to you a long time about what we do. So, I was going to think that you provided a little bit of my background, but let me give you a little bit more about what I am doing. I'm a professional engineer. I think that I have a deeper understanding of the department than a lot of folks. I have a great understanding, I believe, from the challenges to build in New York City. So I bring a lot of confidence when I talk to my staff on a regular basis or anybody who's filing, as I've worked in 4 of the 5 boroughs and running our offices, and I think I have a grasp on what the challenges are. Before I was appointed by Mayor de Blasio, I served as Assistant Vice President of Facilities, and I led there an internal team facilitating large-scale construction projects, including new buildings, major alterations, and retro commissioning to improve energy efficiency. But I honed many of my operations and construction skills at the department. It's great being back at the buildings department where I cut my teeth and where I want to continue to promote and applaud the good work of the department. So let's discuss DOP. Today I'm going to touch on a few points, the new codes, the mayor's initiatives, and what's coming up with the department. Afterwards, our Deputy Commissioner Tim Hogan is going to speak about his part in our agency, and that's enforcement. He'll provide an overview and offer insight into the diversity of our efforts as it relates to enforcement.
In terms of changes that are going to affect us, because our industry, like many industries, likes things that everybody knows about. They're not changing. We're all on the same page, but it seems recently there's been a lot of changes in codes and things of that nature. Anything happening in the next few months that are going to shock the hell out of us?
You know, your comments before I took the podium really drive the point home. We know we've got a task in front of us. We know that, as I said earlier, we know very much that what we do affects what you do. So please know that we take it seriously, and it can be a challenge. You should know that if you don't, the new FEMA maps are going to take effect officially in a couple of years, but we've already started using them right now. So if you're filing anything to change your footprint or require the compliance with the current FEMA maps, you're going to need to comply with the new line, which is moved further upland. So I assume most folks know that, but it's going to be a big lift. I think some people will be shocked. It's going to affect insurance rates. And so we're working with the Office of Sustainability and also Resiliency to try to get the word out on that. I just did something with the Deputy Mayor's office a couple days ago when I went to that room thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to work on the floodplains. And FEMA is auditing us starting in a couple of weeks about how we're complying with the FEMA guidelines in terms of enforcing the flood zones. So you're going to see that we're getting tight about that because FEMA is demanding that we get tight about enforcement. Also energy. We're doing energy reviews, and that's going to start picking up as well. You're going to start noticing that maybe a little more, and some more energy enforcement. That's coming to us from a lot of different sides. It's just to pick up our game.
One other thing that's hitting us is the various certifications that are required, professional certifications, site safety certifications, etc. So some of us ended up in a situation recently, we couldn't get the proper certified people, let's say, for jobs, and we couldn't even start the jobs because we didn't even have the person who was certified.
The message was heard loud and clear. Believe me, we've got a lot of phone calls about that, and we hear you. We work closely with the Department of Investigation on certifying folks for site safety management, and plus a lot of other things. And so we have conveyed the message of deep concern because they have to improve the folks for these site safety management certificates as well. We didn't necessarily have a full agreement on how they were reviewing stuff, so we kind of resolved some of that. Deputy Commissioner Hogan can speak to that if you have further questions. But the other thing that we did, and I signed something, a new rule for the mayor to sign the day before yesterday. I'm hoping he signed it yesterday or today. A new rule to revise this facade site safety management team. So if that should loosen up the demand for site safety managers. We're hoping that will free up the availability of people, and that was something that we rushed through in the last, well, by city standards, we got it through in about 30 or 45 days, I think, which is lightning speed. So we're happy that we were responsive about that, and hoping that you will see some changes about the availability of folks in the next week or two.
The rest of the time, you will be able to use a competent person on the site. So our estimate is that we're going to free up 3/4 of the available site safety managers to be used on full-time site safety jobs by making this change in the rule. The second thing that we've done is we've worked on trying to develop a faster term development training seminar that we can use for a shorter period of time to get more site safety managers into the field. So we are cognizant of the problem. We've been taking action to resolve that problem.
Just a few announcements. Some of the future events that we're going to have is in February. We're going to have a construction bonding, construction insurance panel discussion, which will be very important to most of us here because our costs are going wild. On March 26th, we're going to have the large panel discussion that we typically have to go over the state of development, design, and construction in New York. In May, we're going to have a construction lawyers panel discussion with some of the major attorneys in New York relating to construction law. And then in June, we're going to have a construction technology panel, which will be also very exciting. Remember, as we said, these events are typically no charge. We do have sponsors for the events, and they do help out the cultural events that we're going to have. So a couple of the major of the cultural events we're going to have is going to be the fundraising event, a future fundraising event at the Hellenic Consulate for the Jewish Museum. In April, we're going to have the April 25th, the first National Hellenic American Genealogy Conference, which will be a national event. People are flying over from all over the United States, including people from Ellis Island, and including people from the National Archives of Athens. We're also having the Archbishop Yakovos Anniversary Musical Tribute. And it's very important this particular year. It's the 10th anniversary of the Archbishop's death. It's the 50th anniversary of the Selma March. And that's why the movie came out, Selma came out this year. And they do show, in fact, the Archbishop marching with Martin Luther King. And that should be a very exciting event. We are going to have the artistic director of the Greek National Opera, and we'll have a musical event to raise some money for the Greek National Opera. And we're also going to support the fundraising activities of the Korean War Museum. They're going to have various pavilions from various nations that did fight in the Korean War. As you know, the Korean War Museum has come into New York. So they're basically, the museum itself is going to be set up in New York. And we're going to support the activities of creating the Greek pavilion component of the Korean War Museum. Other events that are coming up are our chamber, as you know, it's one of its strongest components is the shipping industry. And for those who don't know, the Greek shipping fleets are combined are the largest in the world, actually, by far. So there's going to be an annual joint shipping conference in February 11th. And of course, Jimmy is with us tonight.
Είχαμε μεγάλη επιτυχία φέτος με το φεστιβάλ κινηματογράφου και στη Νέα Υόρκη αλλά και στην Ατλάντα και στη Βοστόνη. Είχαμε μεγάλη συμμετοχή από το κοινό, πάνω από 5.000 εισιτήρια κόψαμε στις τρεις πολιτείες. Στη Νέα Υόρκη βεβαίως υπάρχει πολύ ελληνισμός, μας υποστηρίζουν πάντοτε. Οι ταινίες ήταν αξιόλογες, πάρα πολύ καλές, μου φαίνεται και το κοινό τις εκτίμησε και ευχαριστήθηκαν με αυτό που παρουσιάσαμε. Είχαμε επίσης και την τιμή να έχουμε αρκετούς σκηνοθέτες από την Ελλάδα εδώ φέτος. Ήταν ο Παντελής ο Βούλγαρης με τη σύζυγό του, την Ιωάννα Καριστιάνη. Μαζί είχαν εργαστεί στο έργο Μικρά Αγγλία. Ήταν ένας νέος σκηνοθέτης, ο Τύρης Τσαφούλιας λέγεται, ο οποίος είχε κάνει το κοινό παρονομαστή. Επίσης ήταν ο Ηλίας ο Γιαννακάκης που έκανε ένα πάρα πολύ ωραίο ντοκουμαντέρ για τα Καλάβρητα. Ήταν πάρα πολύ ικανοποιητικό το φεστιβάλ και έχουμε ήδη αρχίσει για του χρόνου, σκεπτόμαστε, ήδη αρχίσαμε, βλέπουμε έργα, ξέρουμε ότι θα το εξακολουθήσουμε και θα το μεγαλώσουμε ακόμα πιο πολύ όσο μπορούμε. Και να ευχαριστήσω και το MGTV για τη συμπαράσταση, πάντοτε μας υποστηρίζετε και είμαι πολύ ευγνώμων. Να είστε καλά.
The Greek Film Festival every year has been growing exponentially. This year, it's the New York Greek Film Festival, but this particular past year, it went into Boston, and it went into Atlanta. So I think this year it's probably going to turn national. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you again.
The Chamber of Commerce, to me, represents the best of Greek life in New York. The people I've come in contact with are intelligent, they are professional, they are the absolute best group to work with, and I'm so happy to be here this evening to share it with you.
I'd like to thank also MGTV for being a sponsor of this event and always being with us.
MGTV USA. Οι δραστηριότητες της ελληνοαμερικανικής κοινότητας με βίντεο και πλήρες ρεπορτάζ. Επισκεφτείτε την ιστοσελίδα μας mgtvusa.com. Καλύπτουμε καθημερινά τα γεγονότα στην Ομογένεια.